What's going on, everybody? We're the COD Casuals. I am Mike.
I'm Justin.
And we have a survey for this last episode here of Season 3 of the COD Casuals that's going to be linked below. It is going to be on everything that we would like you guys to fill out and give us suggestions and feedback regarding what you would like to see from us on content, what you like, what you don't like. So please, it's going to be in the description box wherever you are viewing. So be sure to go and fill that out for us. It would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, and we're going to be sharing it across all of our social media too. And we're going to keep this survey open. We don't know how long yet, but we're going to have it open for a while. We greatly appreciate the feedback because we want to bring the best content to you guys and like what do you guys actually want. We've been exploring like other avenues, so we want to give you guys the best content possible and like make this like a real community.
So whatever you want to go see, just go down there, fill it out, and then you'll be all set, and then we'll be able to look over everything.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah, we appreciate it, guys.
So thanks again. Enjoy the episode.
Yep.
See you around.
See ya. I just think it's really disrespectful for them to ruin a character like that. All the hardcore fans of COD that have been following the series for like over a decade.
It's just there's so many questions about this. Like I have about it. I don't know what their direction was. I don't understand a lot of it. It just, again, at the end, like if I had to boil it down, this campaign... Welcome, everybody, to episode number 143 of the COD Casuals podcast and episode 1 of season 4. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Justin.
Justin, we done made it, bro.
Yeah, we did.
How you doing, man? Good?
Yeah, good.
Dude, it's been a solid week for us.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's been a nice, chill, relaxing week away from Call of Duty. Besides one thing,
Yeah.
which finally came out, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but... Yeah, man. I mean, we're now on this week on November 6th.
Yep.
We're getting to the final days of no COD multiplayer now. It's coming out soon.
Yeah.
I think we've got 3 days left, right?
Yeah, multiplayer comes out Friday.
Yeah.
Well, the game launches Friday. Yeah, I'm excited.
Do you have work Friday?
Right now, I might take it off. Depending how it goes, because if Breach is having a midnight release party, then I might take it off. But not sure yet.
I don't have work Friday, so I hope that they do one because, bro, I'm there.
Yeah.
Even still, like if it actually runs, I'm debating because you know how most of those go like when the game launches at midnight.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's unplayable.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Because if Breach does have an event like that again, like last year, I'll probably take it off.
Yeah.
Because I have the time. I put the time in just in case. But if not, then I probably won't just because I feel like I'm not going to miss anything anyways. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to stay up till like 5, 6 in the morning, like grinding anyways.
Yeah.
So
I would want to play just like a handful of games right at the start to just feel it and say,
yeah.
right there. But
I stay up till like 2 in the morning anyways. So it's not worth taking the day off.
Yeah.
If I'm not like staying up way, way later.
Yeah. But I'm going to be playing it that day. I'm going to wake up, make my coffee, and just play as much as I can. Yeah, man, it's just this drought. Like, we're finally coming to the end of it. And I did get a little bit of that itch after playing the campaign.
Yeah.
It was just nice to be playing Call of Duty again because I mean, we haven't played at all. Since
2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's been really nice.
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
It's been very nice. I'm still looking forward to these next couple of days of just
me too.
Total decompression, just playing. I need to finish up Red Dead.
I'm not gonna finish Valhalla.
No, it's not gonna happen. It's gonna live on for another time.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing for the next couple of days, and then probably not gonna play it for a couple months, and then I'll jump back into it again.
Yeah,
because I'm not touching that game.
Yeah, no way. Or maybe play it once you get, like depending on whenever ranked comes out. Once you hit, like if they're doing this season, you hit the max level. Yeah, which news came out about that? Like we don't know what the prestige system is yet. Supposedly it's going to come out season 1, but they haven't announced anything yet, which makes me think they might change it up again. And that'd be awesome if they changed it to the old prestige system again, where like it's not tied with the season. Right. I would love that if it wasn't tied with the season, and you could just prestige like all the way through. Yeah. And then the season like
it is what it is, like, as it comes. You get rewards, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they did show some of the prestige emblems that we were going to get.
Yeah.
Which we had talked about those. They were like, whatever, but
yeah.
I don't know what their, like you said, I don't know what the whole process is of actually having them out there.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know the system yet, but we're supposed to hear, like, towards the end of season 1.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that. If they either keep it the same as whatever, but if they do change it, that'd be great, because then I just like how it's not tied to the season.
Yeah. Well, in the season 1, it doesn't launch with the game.
No, yeah.
You know, which is strange in itself.
Yeah,
it's gonna
end when like season 6 of MW2 ends.
Yeah.
Season 1 launches. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
gonna be weird. Yeah.
Because you think, like, when these games came out, like, back in the day, you could, like, there was a reason for you to be grinding at night, because you could grind all the way, and then you could get the first prestige, and it's there for you.
Yeah,
and you could just start your prestiging.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, say the max level is 50. Like, once you hit 50, then you got to wait until whatever the season, like, if it drops. You know? And you're a fiend if you're hitting 50 before season 1.
Oh, yeah. Everyone remembers, like, if you... Back in the day, if you got back from school, your friend's already first prestige, day 1, you're like, whoa, no way.
Yeah.
Like, you've been grinding, and it's because they stayed home from school.
Dude, I remember seeing those kids, like, on MW3 specifically. These guys would be, like, prestige emblems. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, what prestige are they? I'm like, they're not. I'm like, doing the thoughts in my head. I'm like, okay, I've seen what first is. I'm like, they're not first.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, they're past first prestige already.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like 4 days into the game. I'm like, holy.
That was a thing in middle school. Yeah. You come back and everyone's like, what prestige are you?
Yeah.
You go back, you log on. Oh my god!
Yeah, I remember specifically seeing it. It was the 4th prestige emblem from MW3. I don't know why I remember it so well. It's that purple, like, star.
Yeah,
you know, I remember seeing that for the first time because I'd seen 3.
Yeah,
and then I saw that and I was like, what is that? And yeah, I remember them. They fried. I was like, there's no way you can't.
Yeah.
You play the game that much. I'm like, you better be a god.
Yeah, you're staying home from school like the past couple of days.
You are suffering.
Yeah, just grinding. Yeah.
There's gonna be consequences. For this.
Yeah.
I'm like, or you're like, maybe you're in college at the time and you're just, you
hustling.
Yeah. God bless you if you're doing that.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that though, like we're starting off season 4 of the COD Casuals with a bang.
Yeah. And not a good one.
Yeah, not a good bang, but it is a bang, the start of MW3.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate one.
Yeah.
But it needs to be talked about.
Yeah, it needs to be talked about.
Okay. So, I'll try to be as delicate as I can here. Just kidding. So we got early access to the single player campaign for Modern Warfare 3. And this came out, what day was it?
November 2nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a Thursday.
Yeah.
And we didn't play it for a little bit. I think we just we didn't play it on Thursday. We played it on Friday and into Saturday. And that's all the time we needed.
Yep.
Because it was so goddamn short.
Yep.
You could do this in under 4 hours. I've seen people do it pretty easily.
I saw people saying that you can get this done in 3 hours. And I'm like, oh.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's definitely probably like speedrunning-ish. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me either.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about this campaign. Again, spoilers. So if you don't want to watch it or don't want to hear any of it, then we'll see you in episode 144.
Yeah, where we talk about our MW3 experience.
Yeah, exactly.
The multiplayer.
But this campaign, we talked about this. So, like, preface this. I was not a fan at first. Once I finished it, I was like, I don't really think it's that good. And then you were like, dude, it's horrible.
Yeah, well, we'll start off with that. Yeah, I didn't like it off the rip. Like, not the start of it. Like, when I beat the game, I was not happy at all, and I'm still not happy because
you were pissed.
Yeah, I was really mad.
Yeah. And I was upset at it, but I wasn't as upset. I was more just kind of like, it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
And then we talked about it for about, like, I think over an hour.
I worked you up.
Yeah.
I worked you up?
You did work me up.
And then
you just made me, like, realize a lot of the points where I was just kind of like, it is what it is. And you're like, no, dude, this is insane.
Yeah.
You know?
And then finally got to open up Twitter and, like, look at, everything, what other people thought.
Yeah.
And everyone was mad, too. I'm like, okay, I'm not... Because I thought I was being harsh at first. I'm like, there's no way. Like, they did all of this and people aren't upset at it. And then opened up Twitter. Everyone I looked at was upset.
Yeah.
Every big content creator was upset.
Yeah. And then myself afterwards, after we talked, I was pissed and I was just like, man, this campaign really does suck. Which we hate to say because we always like to be glass half full people. Yeah. But I mean, there's no beating around the bush. This campaign from Modern Warfare 3 sucked.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And we'll give it's already spoilers, so last call right here, spoilers. if you don't want to know about it, go to the next episode, or go to one of our guest episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
But so the plot of the story is right.
We'll start off with the plot.
It goes off of hunting Makarov, and for the people that played MW2 like Adamgrad, the raid series, you'll know not Adamgrad. You'll know Makarov is the main antagonist of MW3. And this supposedly takes place before MW2 2009. So this is a prequel, but it takes place after MW2 2022. And the whole plot is Makarov, he gets kidnapped by TF-141, Task Force 141, and then he gets sent into solitary jail, and then he escapes. Mm-hmm. He escapes and then starts plotting, missile attacks and chemical warfare attacks against the United States. And he is Russian, so he's trying to put this on the people of Urzikstan, which is a main character, Farah. Farah's from Urzikstan, and he's trying to blame it all on them. So the Russians, have control and get the U.S. to fight Urzikstan, right? So that was basically it. Really, really summed up. That was a plot,
and there's not bad.
No, yeah, not bad. That overall, super, super high level. I didn't go to any detail.
Right.
There's a lot you can do with that plot.
There is. Mm-hmm. And they did have a decent amount of stuff that was relating to that. Mm-hmm. And it kind of met a weird end, which we'll get to. So they had a decent idea with the campaign, which, like you just said, it's pretty straightforward. Mm-hmm. It's what you'd expect. And they had a lot of different ways that they can go with it, but they chose a very strange way.
Yeah. And so we're going to break this up into two categories. We'll do story first, and then we'll talk about the gameplay and mission types itself. But so for the people that played, the MW2 series back in the day, they brought familiar characters like Price, Soap, Ghost, Gaz, Makarov. These were core characters from the old series. Mm-hmm. And again, they're playing off the, the nostalgia factor. Right. And it worked. I saw Makarov, I hated him immediately because I loved when I killed him in MW3 2011. I was this asshole. Right. And the start of the game too, they really made me not like him. I'm so you start off in the game, right? I'm going to skip some stuff. Okay. But Makarov gets broken out of jail, right? And
first mission of the game.
Yeah. He gets broken out of jail, and now he has this whole scheme that he's going to get control over missiles, chemical warfare, all that stuff. Immediately, I already hate the guy. I'm are you kidding me? This guy literally broke out of jail, and then he just starts scheming immediately. And first 72 hours, in-game time, he already starts causing havoc everywhere across the world. And they did a great job with that, developing that plot immediately. So you just hate Makarov right off the jump.
Yeah. And that was the whole objective with it. He was such a hated character in the previous ones, and setting him off that way definitely did. Mm-hmm. And I think with that main storyline, because they had a couple of other side things that were going on, which we'll touch on later on as to issues that we had. But they did a really good job developing this and having, certain missions that were tied to it. Now the missions themselves, and we'll talk about that in the other half, they were, in my opinion, executed horribly. Mm-hmm. But the story itself was there. And then, you go through a whole bunch of different story missions that you're trying to revert problems that he is creating. Mm-hmm. He's releasing certain missiles or launching them, and there's chemicals everywhere. You're shooting them down, you're stopping missile launches, and then that's inevitably where the last mission of the game goes to. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is you're in a tunnel and he's gonna release like this. There's a bomb, right, with like all the gas around it, and he's gonna detonate it, and it's gonna kill tons of people.
Yeah, where I know we skipped a lot, but in the end, you end up getting to like these railroad tracks in London, and he has a bomb like underneath the railroads, and he plans on blowing that up, killing multiple people in London, and no one will know like it's the Russians.
Right.
Like, he just wants to start chaos.
But now this is where the biggest. Right, when you agree, this is what the biggest problem is.
Oh yeah, biggest problem for sure, biggest problem. Yeah. But I want to go back like a little bit.
Okay.
To if you guys watched the trailer, the trailer how they showed the plane scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's the famous like
no
Russian scene, right?"
Yeah.
That was completely unrelated to No Russian.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, all right, they clickbaited us really bad.
Yeah.
But all right, fair play. That mission was so short, first of all, and we'll go into that in the gameplay or whatever. But that mission, Makarov is plotting this whole scheme, and one of his rooks, whatever he wants to.
Yeah, just like I guess one of his henchmen. Or
he found this woman named Samara, I believe that was her name, and she helped fight with Urzikstan against like the Russians, and they used her to blame her for all the stuff that happened to the Russians, and then put like a bomb on her, and was like, all right, you have to deal with this now. You're the terrorists,
right?
Like the Russians aren't. Like we're clean. And they throw her back into the plane, and now like this guy. First off, though, in that mission where they strap the bomb to her, right, and then Makarov's like, leave no one behind to that guy. He has a phone, and he's like, you're that terrorist, and he gave her the gun. I'm like, dude, how does this guy just get away for free? He like literally hands you the gun and then tosses like remote. I guess, I mean, like if you're in that, you're probably panicking, not thinking about like, oh, let's kill this person.
I can't remember if the gun, I don't know if it had anything in it.
I don't know, because I chose not to shoot.
Yeah, me too. No,
oh yeah,
I didn't do that.
I don't know if you can shoot.
Yeah, I don't know if you can.
So he throws like the phone, and it has like the detonator on it.
Right.
And he gives you a gun. I don't know if they're bullets or not, but like people start jumping in front because they're like, oh my God, like there's
panicking.
Yeah, panicking. And I'm like, I'm not going to shoot these people. Like they're going to think I'm a terrorist.
Right.
And then, cutscene happens, like everyone's blocking you, and the plane explodes. Right. And then it goes into like the somewhat stealthy mission. And Farah comes in and she tries to like figure out, like, to prove prove that Makarov did it. Yeah.
Right.
But I wanted to talk about that mission like specifically because the whole plot itself, like going through the actual story, like I enjoyed it in the beginning.
Yeah.
So up to this railroad piece, right? The story itself, I was like, okay, this is good. Like it makes sense.
Right.
And then we get to the railroad scene, which this is where for me, I was like, all right, this campaign, like the story overall, like it's good. It's like getting developed. And this is where they ruined it for me. Yeah, because completely.
Right. Because what you're saying, is that people haven't played it, like, there's a lot of these plans that he has, and some of them go through, and then others are like, you guys are stopping them, and this is supposed to be his big plan at the end, which for me, I felt like it didn't hit as much as like a big thing, because it seems like all the plans that he was doing were like, really up here as like nefarious things. So this was for me like kind of just another one, and I was like, all right, well, we gotta go stop him. And it starts with this whole tailing mission. And then eventually you use like, I thought the camera thing was pretty cool. Like there's the CCTV cameras. That was cool. And then you go down in the bottom, like in the railway system. And there's this huge battle. Like that was actually kind of tough, some of those fights to get there. And then eventually you get to the bomb. And because you're playing as Price during this whole thing.
Yeah.
Then you and Soap go to defuse this bomb. And you're trying to track Makarov at the same time. But you get to the bomb, so you let him go. Or go ahead. And then as you're doing this, that's when Makarov shows up and he shoots Soap, And then he shoots you too, doesn't he? Or
yeah.
I can't remember if he shoots you or he like hits you.
Yeah, he hits you, and then he goes. Makarov goes over you with a gun.
Yeah,
and then Soap comes back, stabs him.
Yeah, and then he stabs him, and then which doesn't make any sense because there were some other henchmen behind Makarov during this whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I think he was just shooting everyone else.
Right. Who knows? Yeah. So he gets up, stabs Makarov. Makarov pushes him off and shoots Soap in the head and kills him. Yeah. And then like you're on the floor and you're just like, no. Yeah. And then you get up and then Makarov is with his guys and they're just running away. And then the train comes and so they're gone. You can't see him anymore. Then you and Gaz team up again now while Soap's dead to go and defuse the bomb, which you do. And then Ghost is there just kind of looking over Soap being like, oh, that's awful. Yeah. And then...
you defuse the bomb.
And then the mission ends.
Yeah.
The mission ends there where, like, you said you defuse the bomb, Ghost looking all sad, and then Price gets on the radio and just says, like, we have 1 KIA.
Yeah, to Laswell.
Yeah. Ends. Cuts to a cinematic of Laswell editing in, like, the database. There's 1 KIA, John Soap McTavish.
Yeah.
Dead. And then the next scene is it's Ghost, Gaz, and Price.
Yeah.
On some cliff somewhere in like it looks like Scotland. Probably.
Yeah. It was the I forget what the cliff names are. Yeah. People are gonna be mad, but they're like famous cliffs.
Yeah, famous cliffs in Scotland.
Yeah.
And they've got his urn and they pour his ashes out, and I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. I'm like, here we go. They've said goodbye to their guy.
Yeah.
We're ready to roll. Let's go fucking get Makarov. Yeah. And then credits roll. And I couldn't believe this. Yeah. This was such a shock to me.
Yeah.
That's how they ended this game.
Yeah.
It was on an insane cliffhanger.
Yeah. Insane.
And just nothing's been tied up.
Yeah. And that's where like when they killed off Soap, I was like, first off, I was really shocked. Second off, I was super pissed. And third, I was really confused because I'm like, wait, Soap died in the original MWIII.
Right.
And like, well, how is he dying now? Because they said this game takes place before the MW2 series, like back in the day. This takes place before all of that.
So it's impossible for him. I mean, we thought at least it was impossible for him to die.
Yeah. He
can't die.
He can't die.
Yeah, because all the other games, like you just said, they're supposed to happen later. We know he's going to die.
Yeah.
We just don't know like what happens in between everything there. So now with him dying, like it was a big story moment where we're like, oh my God, Soap is dead.
Yeah.
But then when you think about it, compared to what we were just talking about, all the other games, you're like, wait, Soap is dead? Like, how does that make any sense?
Yeah. And so I got really mad about this because they're not being faithful to the original story of Modern Warfare and like basically the series that created like Call of Duty, like that really brought in like everyone. Like Infinity War created such a great storyline and they brought in so many people in terms of like campaign and multiplayer too. But that game like changed it for everyone. And they just killed off like a main character in this game without any hesitation.
And he had a shitty way to go out too.
Yeah, and there was no like heartfelt like mourning of him and like cuz in the OG MW3 Soap dies, right? And he's on this like table. We're in the middle of like war. Like bullets are being shot everywhere and Price is like screaming. And he's like yelling, no, not Soap. But you need to move on because you're literally in war right now. And Ghost is with you and he's like, we need to go. We need to go. And then you leave his body there. And those are the moments where the people creating the campaign, like the storytelling and stuff, like it's crazy because you feel that emotion.
And the music during that too is so heavy. It's like...
Yeah. You feel that connection. One of your main characters just died, but in war, like you have to move on. Like they force you to move on. Meanwhile, like bullets are being shot at you and stuff. Yeah. And like you're trying not to die.
Right.
But you need to move on. And then, you go through the mission again and then they're still mourning Soap. Like they're like super upset about it. In this, he literally like stabs Makarov, bullet to the head.
Yeah.
And then Makarov gets away. And then Price is like, no, Soap. And then you have to go defuse the bomb.
He literally just says no.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then I get that in that moment, like you have to go defuse a bomb.
Right.
So you defuse a bomb, but I expected like a whole
thing,
like mourning him, like, oh my God, like whatever, right? And then I'm like, all right, I'm mad. I fucking hate Makarov.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes to a scene, like you said, where they're mourning him. They spread his ashes. And then the credits roll. And I'm like, I was fully expecting more to the campaign.
Because think about like the original, when Soap dies in the original MW3. Mm-hmm. That's like, I mean, that's definitely halfway through the game or like a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But there's still plenty of missions after. I think there's like probably 3 more, like 2 or 3 more missions after that that tie up the loose end.
Yeah.
You know? Because like that game would suck if that's how it ends.
Yeah.
And like then they do the little flashback with Yuri when he's in the car with him in COD 4 and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But it would be awful if that's how they ended the game.
Yeah. And
this one, it was terrible.
Oh, yeah, it was awful. They killed off Soap, and then they just mourned him, like spread his ashes, and that's it. And it ended. And I'm like so upset about it because they killed off a main character, didn't even give him like any recognition really, like at all.
Yeah.
And this campaign was like 5 hours. I think it was 6 hours technically, but you and I beat it like pretty quick. Like, so I started it Friday in the afternoon around like 2-3 p.m. I beat it Friday night, and I fully expected to go into Saturday to play it. And like Call of Duty campaigns are not long by any means. They're like 8 to 12 hours if you're taking a real.
We're not expecting like AAA game. Like, like an Assassin's Creed.
It's It's never been like that. Call of Duty's always been like super emotional and cinematic and,
it's short.
Bring you into the story, right?
But not this short.
No, yeah, this is really short. And again, the story, they just killed Soap off. They made like no emotional connection with you, like Soap dying. I feel like the only reason why I'm so mad about it is because I played the OG game.
Yeah.
And you had that emotional connection with that character. And they ripped that away.
Yeah.
I bet for someone that's never played this, they're probably like, oh my God, whoa.
Right.
And like, that's it.
Right.
But for the fans that played back in the day, how are you not going to honor this like character that, has created like so many stories for like everyone.
Right.
Like throughout the years.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bad send off overall. And then again, when the credits rolled, we were pissed. And then, I mean, I knew there was no more gameplay, but you let it go. I mean, it's like the age-old trick. It's like, okay, let's wait to see if they have anything else. And then, sure enough, the credits end, and then there's a cutscene with Shepard, who's been with you, who had his own kind of weird, story of, I mean, they don't like him. He did a lot of shady things in the game. And then you end up at the end, like the last couple missions, I guess he's like on your side.
Yeah.
But he's at his desk, and he's like late at night, and then turns like, or I think it's not even a light turns on. It's Price who's just in there.
Yeah.
Who like comes from the shadows, and he's talking to him, and he's like, you could tell Shepard's trying to just fight for his life, being like, there's always like casualties in war. These things happen, whatever. And then Price just has enough, and he shoots him and kills Shepard.
Yeah.
Which I was like, good. Fuck him.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about it, and pretty much everybody did. But then it was the same thing.
They ended.
Shepard, they ended there.
Yeah.
But it's also, like we're mentioning with Soap, if you don't know, Shepard dies in MW2. He dies by Price, but he's with Soap when that happens. So it was like a whole other, not in the plot that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, well, he's supposed to die later on in the series. So how does it make sense now that this guy's not in the game anymore? Which we had talked about this, where like, is this some alternate universe that this is made in? It has to be.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't really... Then I think it's just bad overall, if it is.
Yeah. I really think Sledgehammer, and it probably... I don't know if it was just Sledgehammer, but maybe Infinity War 2. They just took a whole different route with this campaign.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't line up with any of the previous games that they've made. Like the OG series at all. It was
until this.
Yeah.
Like COD, Modern Warfare 2019 made sense. This one made sense, or MW2 made sense, and then this made no sense.
Yeah, and it's crazy that this whole thing is let me rephrase that. It's crazy that you and I are going to we're criticizing this, and a lot of it is the last 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And also the gameplay, which we'll get to later, but that says a lot.
The story, plot wise itself, it all went downhill in the last 5-ish minutes of the game.
Immediately, because I don't know. I haven't seen anyone say good things about the campaign that are OG Call of Duty fans that love the story. That's we've been playing it for years, over a decade,
right?
And they didn't honor this character.
Yeah,
and that makes me really upset because you and I were big single player guys, right? Mm-hmm. And when we were talking at night, I was like, dude, look at Naughty Dog, for example. They ended the Uncharted series, and they set Nathan Drake over to his island. He can retire. It's a thief's end.
Yeah,
and they closed that chapter perfectly.
Right.
They ended that series and they knew when to call it. Mm-hmm. And now in this, I feel like Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, they're like, oh, this Modern Warfare series, it's not dying.
Yeah.
They're just stretching it out even longer when they shouldn't. I know it sucks because these characters, we love them, but we all have to realize that sometimes you have to end it so something new can come along.
Right. Well, and a perfect example of that for me is Red Dead Redemption, being able to make a sequel that is a prequel, because that's what they've been doing with these games. But you think about did you play Red Dead 2 at all?
No.
Okay.
I know what happened. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that is the perfect way to do it. That there's very, very few questions that are left from playing Red Dead 2 going into Red Dead 1. They tied it up perfectly. And it's the same thing too, where they know the story, the fate of all these people. Whether right from when you play the game, you're like, okay, all of these people are not in the Red Dead 1, the main people that or new characters. So you're like, there's some point here these people are going to die, right? Or they're going to leave or whatever. And that's exactly what happens. It's a shock when you later on get so attached to these people and you're like, oh my God, but it's more of oh, you knew it was going to happen, but you didn't know when. I was going to say, if Farah died in this game, I would have been like, oh my God, but you kind of know, or you'd assume that something like that would happen if they're going to do a good job of tying up with missions that happen in MW2 and 3. You're like, well, you never did anything with her. So how would that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
So they did such a good job, Rockstar did with it. This game, and they called it. They're not going to they may make another Red Dead, but it's going to not really, I don't think, tie in as much with these games.
Yeah.
At least not with the characters that we know. But this game, yeah, I think you're totally right. They found a cash cow of the price thing. Again, Ghost, they like Ghost. Ghost's a marketable character, and same thing with Farah too. And they're just gonna. I have a feeling they're gonna string this along, and they're just. I don't know if they're ever gonna end this. When they probably should have just ended it in this game.
And yeah, and that's how I feel.
MW3 ended.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah. Captain Price, everybody loves Price, but. That chapter has to close at some point. It's right. The longer you stretch this out and the more games you make and the worse you make it, these campaigns, people are going to start hating this beloved character that was the superstar.
Yeah.
And I don't want that for any of these characters. It's perfect example, Treyarch, when they sent off the zombie characters.
Yeah.
That whole storyline. I don't know the whole zombie storyline in depth, but the way that they sent off the OG characters, they did it in a very poetic way.
Yeah.
And Sledgehammer or Infinity Ward working together, they didn't do that.
Yeah.
With Soap at all.
No.
And now Price just has to hold carry this weight on him into the next game because clearly Makarov is still alive, which makes sense. And going back to where you were saying, they tied up loose ends in Red Dead 2, and in this, they didn't, obviously.
Yeah.
Even if they ended this game with Farah being alive, everyone being alive at the end.
Yeah.
And this was the last game. I think everyone would be able to accept that, because like going into MW2, like we don't know, maybe they just disappeared or they're not in contact anymore, you know?
Right.
They could have wrapped it up in some way where it was like, all right, Urzikstan doesn't need like help from you guys anymore, but you guys are like, thank you for your help.
Right.
You know, getting Makarov away from like our country.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
But it, like going to your point though, like wrapping it up somehow.
Right.
Like tying up the loose ends.
Yeah, and I don't see that, and I mean it's a problem with this game, but it's more of a far-sighted thing as to like what they're gonna do with this, because I swear to God, if Makarov doesn't die in MW3 or MW4, that's what they're gonna do. I'm gonna be rip shit. You know?
Yeah, because
it's like that's how like the series ended with Price killing Makarov, and he pulls out a cigar, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's how the game ended, because it was like that was the biggest villain. Maybe they felt that they couldn't build him up enough in one game, so they're like, oh well, we got to go and we're gonna take it over 2 games, because that's what they did in the original. He was a bad guy in MW2, but you don't kill him, and then 3, he's the whole reason. You know?
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. They could
just keep our guys alive, though.
Yeah, I know. I just think it's disrespectful to the character and to the people that created like Soap.
Yeah,
and like to the fans that we love this character, and we gave him like maybe 5 to 10 seconds of a spotlight.
Yeah,
like pouring his ashes.
Yeah,
like what?
Yeah,
that makes no sense. And if you're playing on the nostalgia factor, you need to touch the hearts of the people that played those games.
Yeah.
And not rip it away from them like that. Like they just killed Soap off like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I totally believe at this point we're in like an alternate universe.
Yeah, we have to be.
Yeah. And I said to you last night, it just seems like they're trying to sweep MW2 and MW3, the original ones, like under the rug. Like, guys, none of this actually happened.
Right. This is the real definitive story.
Yeah, this happened. And no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Do you know how much of the player base and the people that grew up on COD like came from that?
Yeah.
They can't do that.
No.
And yeah, I just have such a huge, even like, I don't like Shepard. I'm glad he died. But again, when you kill Shepard in MW2, that was my first Call of Duty. You know how nice it felt to be like, oh, I'm dying, throwing knife right to the face. Yeah. And you finally kill Shepard. And guess what? You save Soap. You save Soap.
And this isn't even a playable thing. This is just a cutscene that you get to see him die in. I'm like, why can't I go and like have a mission where I like infiltrate as Price?
Yeah.
This,
and 2, this was when you kill Shepard in the OG MW2, this was after he killed Ghost.
Yeah.
Like the whole betrayal, one of the biggest like betrayals.
Yeah. Ghost and your character Roach you play as.
Yeah. Like that. That's insane.
Yeah.
And like you said, now they have Price, they have Ghost, Farah, Gaz, like super marketable characters, but they kill off like Soap, McTavish. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so are
you kidding me?
It was a weird ending. I mean, this is like, since we're gonna go switch now to the missions.
I want to mention one thing before.
It was just a weird ending. And again, like, this isn't my biggest gripe with the game. Or the campaign rather. Like the story was okay. I thought it would have been very like, average to slightly below average, but then it took that nosedive off a cliff right at the end for us. Again, satisfactory moments if this is a game that's in an alternate realm, If this is like alternate universe, then I like the Price thing or the Soap thing I don't like because it was such a bad way to kill him. But the Shepard thing I like.
Yeah.
But if we're judging this off of it's relating as a prequel to the MWs, it makes no sense, so it's terrible.
Yeah. And I want to like meet people that never played like the OG ones and see how they feel about it. Because they don't have that emotional like tie to Soap.
Right.
And that, all that character development.
Yeah.
To them they probably like, oh my God.
Right. It's just
Soap's gone.
Exactly.
And like that's it.
Right.
And now they still hate Makarov. But what I want to point out was, like you said, story alone, if they didn't take that like leap off the edge, killing Soap and then killing Shepard, this game for me, like it would have been like okay, like pretty average.
Yeah.
But yeah, they ruined it by that, like completely. Like that score is like ruined because of that for me.
Yeah.
And also we'll go into the gameplay. But I told you last night, the way that I really thought they were going to end it was the famous like no Russian mission that like everyone talked about in the OG MW2 game. I thought they were going to end it off like leading into that.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, Makarov gets away, right? But everyone's still alive, you know, whatever. They end the game there, credits roll, and then it goes into the cutscene where
they're in the elevator going up.
No. It goes to the cutscene where Shepard like walks into the office, and I thought he was going to pick up his phone and then talk to Makarov and be like, "You guys are good to go."
Yeah.
And then it cuts to them like getting ready to go into terminal and do the no Russian mission. And I thought it like there was going to be another cutscene where Laswell talks to Ghost, Soap, Gaz, and am I missing someone? Price. Price. Yeah. And calling him like, hey, we have a hit on him. He's going to this airport. You guys need to get there. But then, it cuts to you in the no Russian mission, and they get there too late. And I'll be like, oh my God, they just like went full circle in everything.
Yeah, and that too, that would still be alternate universe realm. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because they can't you can't recycle that mission from the original.
Well, no, I thought it was I thought it was gonna end there.
Yeah.
Like
that's where the series would be over.
Yeah. Like it ends on the not cliffhanger because you know what happens, but with them finding out we're going into this no Russian.
No, that would I mean that would make sense. But then that would be the end of that'd pretty much be the end of the series or like the story that we know
and that's what I wanted. I thought this was gonna tie up everything, and
then after this they'd have to go on
new characters. Yeah,
right. But we didn't get that.
No, we didn't get that.
So now they're just going to keep stringing this along, I'm sure. And we'll see how it ends up.
And I'm big on like huge send-offs and like poetic like endings and stuff.
Yeah.
To characters that you love. Mm-hmm. And I get, Price went back and killed Shepard because Soap had a chance to kill Makarov, and what did he say? He was like, oh, bury your enemies dead, not alive.
Yeah.
And then Shepard was one of Price's enemies, and he didn't want to leave him like alive, so he killed him and stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. That's a good way to tie it, but you didn't execute it well because beforehand you killed Soap. I really thought MW3 was like the chapter they're closing, completely. I think,
and that's truly faithful to the original.
Mm-hmm. And that would have sucked. I would have been mad. I would have been sad. But at the end of the day, they wrapped it all up. They paid, they honored the old games. Instead of what they're doing now, sweeping that story under the rug, like that didn't happen. We're going to keep going.
Yeah.
And if I had to guess, either they're going to continue this in the campaign, right? Or like the MW4 campaign, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
Or they somehow save themselves, which I don't think they're going to do. They do MW3 raid, and you hunt Makarov in there. That's another play.
That would be cool.
But I think that would be a waste of time because that storyline's like so big. So why would you put that in like a little raid?
It's too big.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they're just shooting themselves like in the foot over and over again.
Yeah.
Whatever they do.
I mean, clearly, yeah. I mean, they really did just with this game in general, like setting it up. It's not what we wanted. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a standalone game or if it's supposed to be like a prequel. Mm-hmm. I mean, story-wise, again, just like it was going okay, reiterating our point, and then just at the end, it took a total nosedive. It was terrible.
Yeah, and it sucks because you and I were so excited for this.
Yeah.
Well, COD campaigns are always good.
Yeah.
This was not. And like I would even say the Vanguard campaign's better than this.
Yeah. Well, the Vanguard, and for me too, which we'll jump into last little bit, is the reason I really didn't like this game was the mission types. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So the missions themselves were one of my biggest gripes. Mm-hmm. So there were 14 missions total in this game, which is, I mean, I can't remember how that stacks up compared to other ones. I think it's probably about the same. I would say that's in the average.
They're normally 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 14, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But where this game fails is that there's I mean, how many are there? I'm thinking of these. There's 1, 2. I think there's 5, 4 or 5 of them that are those the DMZ missions.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that.
Yeah, is it 4 or 5?
I don't know. I can't.
I think it
was a lot of them.
So there you go.
A lot of them.
Right. Well, I mean, if it's definitely 4, could be 5.
Yeah.
That are these DMZ mission types, which this is a new thing that they added into this game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're just fucking lazy.
Yeah.
I think they just, when they added these mission types in, the DMZ ones, they were just lazy. And they were like, okay, we need to go and fill in some missions. So, yeah, here's a random objective that you need to do that seems totally disconnected to the story. Throw you in a map on Warzone and do it.
Yeah.
And you could do these missions in a matter of like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
They were so easy, and they felt just completely disconjointed from the rest of the missions. These missions, I remember when it happened in the second one, the second mission of the game, it's with Farah. I was horrified. I was like, what is this? I see like weapons free. I'm like, what is that? And then I see supply drop, like supply crates. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like I could choose my loadout. I'm like, what is this?
Oh yeah, it's these missions were basically Warzone and DMZ contracts. Yeah. That's what it was at the end of the day. And you go from the first mission where you're breaking Makarov out of jail, standard Call of Duty mission, right?
Yep.
You're following the story, you're following a character, firefights or whatever.
We're off to a good start.
It's like, okay, cool.
Yep.
And then also you don't know you're breaking out Makarov, but then like you realize, oh my God, we're like the bad guys. We're breaking out Makarov.
Great job on the first mission.
Great job. Go into the second mission and, you know,
got Farah. Like,
we got Farah, this girl Deanna, where she served with. Deanna dies.
Gets shot in the head. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah. And you're like, okay, we're going to get into it. And then we get into this.
Like I said, it says weapons free.
Yeah, weapons free.
You're in this like giant space. And I think it's Graves who's talking to you.
Yeah.
Right? Who, by the way, we didn't mention, like Graves is alive, like we predicted.
Yeah.
He's alive in this game. It's not a big deal. It's like barely discussed.
Yeah.
I thought this was a huge thing.
Yeah.
And they totally just like, this is a thing with the story. I like the whole Makarov thing, but that could have been something. They don't make it a big deal.
Yeah. All the shadow companies just like it was so passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Like
so strange.
Price and Gaz meet Graves in general. Shepard, and they're like, we're on the same team now.
Yeah. It's just,
and they're like, oh, come on. I'm like, what? Dude, we tried killing each other.
Mean, like we're getting to it, these story missions. I mean, that stuff is just lazy. That seems like that was a lazy storytelling aspect. And then these missions, like, bro, they were terrible.
Yeah. Well, let's describe that one, right?
You know,
so that Farah mission.
So you go in and then you need to go to a tower to go and get some like beacons or something like random stuff, like going to laptop.
The trackers. Yeah.
So you got to go there, and they're like, oh yeah, there's guys that are all around here. They're hunting you, so you know, be careful. Whatever. I like ran through half these guys.
Yeah.
Ran up to the tower, got everything,
and then put the trackers on the crates.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, now you got to put these on these crates. I'm like, okay, let me go do that. You know, I'm like, this is dumb. One of them was kind of hard. The like one that was like up in these like there was a crane there that was moving around. That was a little annoying. And then I finished it, and then the cutscene rolls. I'm like, wait, that's it,
dude? Yeah,
that's the whole mission.
That cutscene ends regardless if people are shooting at you.
Yeah,
which is insane. Wild.
Oh yeah, I was getting smoked.
Like you said, the 14 missions. That wouldn't be a problem. The problem is that the quality of the missions, and two, like the length of all of them. Like that mission, like you said, that one probably took me a little bit longer, maybe like almost 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to figure out. Partially was like, why are there supply boxes that I'm opening up and stuff? Yeah. And I just felt so disconnected from the mission because I just ran to the objective. Any person I saw, I just killed them. Yeah. I'm like, oh, whatever. Like, I have a silencer. Who cares? When normally, you know, when you go into a COD mission, you expect, I probably have to kill this person, but I need to wait for this person to pass. Like, you have to be somewhat stealthy. Yeah. Or at least, like, be aware of it and go into a firefight if you want. But this is just, like, you're just running around everywhere, and there's, you know, character in front of you, behind you, everywhere. Yeah. and they were just really bad.
Yeah. It was terrible. I mean, it was so short. I didn't feel any connection to what I was actually doing in the game, or in the mission itself. And then you end this, and then you go to the next mission, and it's this is a reactor. This is the one with the 3 helicopters you have to destroy. And it's the same thing with price.
Yeah.
You like drop in like Warzone style, you know,
into this construction zone. Yeah.
And you've got to go and blow up these helicopters. And then you do that, and then I think you exfil.
Yeah, you go through.
Oh yeah, you go to that. You go to the area with the
gas.
Yeah, the gas.
Yeah.
But you blow up these 3 helicopters. They gave you C4. They gave you 6 of them. It takes 2 to blow up a helicopter. You take those. I was over here chucking them. I'm chucking those things like I'm back in MWIII.
And you were on an ATV or truck, whatever, just driving around. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that. Like I didn't even do that. The way that I blew them up, I found like airstrikes. So I just pinged everywhere.
Yeah.
And then
you blew
killed
them
them
all up.
Yeah. And then I got in the truck and then drove to the exfil
Isn't
site.
that so great? There's so many different ways to do this mission.
Yeah.
Bro, shut up.
Yeah.
This mission, like, that would be one thing if it was, like, smart. This mission took 2 minutes. You do that, then you go to this reactor area where this, like, gas is going off, and then you just, like, hold the line for, I don't know, like 30 seconds, a minute. And then I think it's Nikolai or not Nikolai. It's one of the guys, like whoever they're in the helicopter.
Yeah, I think it was Graves.
Yeah.
Was it Graves? No.
Somebody.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even remember. They go down and then they hook you up and then they carry you out of there. And that's it.
It was Nikolai.
You know?
I'm thinking about it now.
And it's like, I was like, that's it too? I'm like,
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I'm speedrunning this game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, in back to back, I was scared. I was like, are we going to keep getting these?
Dude, that's what I thought too. I'm like, there's no way we're just getting Warzone / DMZ like contracts that are already like in the game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to end up going through a lot. Like Payload, that mission is actually like a real COD mission. Then the next one, Deep Cover, that's where you're playing as Laswell in the military base. And it's the same. It's like it's not the full DMZ experience because it's not like an open world.
Yeah.
But you have to go. You go to a gate. Can't go there. You got to kill somebody. Okay, kill them. Get his key card. Go into the building. Mission's over.
Yeah.
That's it,
dude. Yeah.
Like you could do that. Like if you're good, you could probably do that in like a minute 30.
Yeah, and I think I did do it in that. And the idea for that mission really good. Like you're disguised as an enemy. And you're going through their base.
Yep.
And you don't want people seeing you, obviously, right? So Nikolai drops us off. I go to the base. And I'm like, don't look at anyone. Don't look at anyone. And I just run through. I'm running through the base. And I get to the door. Oh, shoot. I can't. I need a key card. I run around, hide. Oh, this officer has a key card. Okay, let me run up. Ran up the steps. Pull out my silenced weapon. By the way, the only time you ever need it, and you don't even need it because you have throwing knives.
Right.
Kill the officer and kill one of the guards with him. Grab the key card, and then when you're coming out of it, you know how you can go back down the stairs.
Yep.
I leaped over the railing.
Over the rail, yeah.
Just dropped down.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, no one cares. And then I went scanned my key card, and I'm like, in games where you have to go in buildings and be stealthy, I'm like, oh man, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
I scan the key card, and then the icon's like, oh, he's in the closet in the front. I'm like, what? And then you literally walk like 10 steps and
there it is.
Cutscene. I'm like,
it was so lazy. And then after that, it's the plane mission. Passengers.
Oh, we gotta mention before this with the one that like you and I for the most part like the one with Price.
Yeah. That was a cool one. Yeah, like when you spawn in on like that hilly, cliff kind of thing. Like that was like, so there's, I think in this game,
what was the name of that one?
Payload.
Was it Payload? Yeah. So that one, like, it was somewhat open world, but like stealthy.
Yeah. And
you go in and you have to get like a key card to the one of the missiles that had chemicals,
like in the bunker. Yeah.
Yeah. And that one, like, I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Because you have to be stealthy, and if you weren't stealthy, like, you could still, like, do firefights and stuff. But I will say, like, there are times where I tried doing the firefight. It was fucking hard.
Yeah. So like that main, like it encourages stealth. Then you go into the base. Then you realize like the nukes are going to go off with Farah there, and then you have to go back up to stop or close the silo. And then that's where it devolves into like a big firefight in order to get your way to the control room. Like that was a classic COD mission. And it was good.
Yeah.
And then again, like I said, right after that is where you go back into this, you know, like that awful Laswell mission. Then you've got the gimmick mission passenger, which like, you know, some CODs have that.
Yeah.
I remember COD, remember in, I think it's COD 4. Yeah, I think it's COD 4. There's a mission where like your plane gets shot down when you're like the U.S. Marine Corps and like you're crawling through and then you die. Do you remember that mission?
Yeah.
Like that's a mission. It's a gimme. Like it's a good mission. Like it, you know, it can fill some space. But after everything that we've already had, I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Then
and the passenger mission was the plane one.
Yeah, exactly. Then Crash Site, that's when you talked about the far recovering.
Before.
That's a good mission. Too,
yeah. Before. You know? The build up to passenger, like the cutscenes were good.
Yeah.
Like Makarov and like his henchmen, they walk through the airport and like they get through with the detonator and everything. Then they get on the plane. I'm like, okay, this is good. And then it leads into that cutscene where, you know, they frame Samara and stuff.
Yeah. Like it was a good mission regarding the storytelling, you know? But it was just after everything that's been around it, it was not. I was like, I need to play, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm looking for gameplay here.
Yeah.
And like after those missions, like with these DMZ type missions, I was already annoyed.
Yeah.
And then it goes into another one of those. Like that's the Crash Site mission. But I will say this one I did like, because it was kind of a weird one. It didn't feel as DMZ-esque, this one, because it had like a very clear objective. Like you're at the crash site, they're like, okay, you need to go and find these phones and like get the recordings or piece together what happened here.
And this is with Farah, like, and it was at night.
At night with the stealth, with the sniper. And then you're with Alex too. He's doing something else, and then you end
he's doing Overwatch.
Yeah, and then eventually he gets like, you know, into trouble, and you kill them, and then you exfil. Insanely short mission still. I would say it was probably the longest though, or one of the longer ones. It felt like to me. Apart from the one that's later on, like one of the mission with Ghost and the dam, that was a little bit longer. But that was a solid mission, and then there was the next couple, like High Rise. It was titled, which was the one with Gaz going through. That was not a bad mission. Pretty cool. I like the setting of it. Bit longer. Frozen Tundra was the mission that I'm thinking of. This is the one with the C4 when it blows up. This was a great mission.
Yeah.
I thought this was a really good COD mission. I was like, okay, we're getting into it, but I'm like, you know, still, I'm not happy about all the other stuff that we had. So they had, like, when we're talking about it here, like, of all the missions we've done so far, which is 11, we're talking about 2 good missions.
Yeah.
3 technically if you count the first one.
Yeah, and then these ones were like the one where we grabbed Shepard like out of the water and stuff, the one we were just talking about.
Yep.
That's like you said, a classic COD mission, and then enemies come and Price is like, let them pass. Yeah. I'm like, that's classic. Like he says that in the OG ones.
Yeah, he's
let
like, take him out or let him pass. You know, we're like, okay, I like the choice stuff. I always let him pass.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll get to that like at the end, like all that. Because you and I definitely like, we vary on like game type. Yeah. Yeah.
So that mission's great. You're like, okay, awesome. Next one, it's another DMZ. Like you got to go and defuse these bombs on and you parachute in. You could bang that out in like 5 minutes, not even. Then it's a Danger Close AC-130 mission. I'm like, holy.
Classic.
Yeah. Classic, but I'm just at the, like, seriously, when I was playing this, I was like, holy shit, am I going to play this game?
Yeah.
Like, I need these normal missions. And then you get to the last one, and that's game.
And the last mission was a typical COD. You're tailing a hacker because you're trying to figure out where Makarov was. And you get to the railroad, and then, you know, all that stuff happens. And there was a flashback with Price, like going back before when they find out about Makarov, like blowing up the plane. But that one was a classic, like, COD mission too. Like there's a firefight, and you have to go get Makarov. And you know how you're in stadium in Verdansk.
Yeah.
And like the police are killing civilians and stuff. And you get upstairs to the 3rd floor and the paramedics are like, we're just helping people.
Yeah.
Classic. I like that because I'm like, oh, maybe they're they fake you out. I shot that guy immediately. I'm like, no, you weren't here.
Not playing around.
But I'm like, they had stuff there, but they kept filling it with this Warzone DMZ type missions.
Which this is an awful thing. This was such a bad addition to the game. And again, like for me, like the biggest problem with this, like tying it all together here is the mission types. The story, like we said, was mediocre, but these missions were so boring. They were so bad. Apart from 3, maybe 4 of them that I thought were like pretty solid. First one was good. The Tundra mission was good. The one that you're talking about, the Verdansk flashback, that was a good mission. And then if you want to count the last one, it was okay. I would say that was the worst of the 4 of them. But it's just like of all 14 missions, 4 of them are good and the rest suck. Like that's a bad ratio.
Yeah, there's only like the 14 missions, and each mission you can probably do in under 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. And we'll touch on this quick before we wrap is like the thing I didn't like about this either, or a lot of the mission types, is the variety. They were all like, you could barely do any of them all stealthily.
Yeah.
Which is something that I always like in COD games. I like the missions where you can do them and never be seen. I like being a ghost in those games. Pretty much none of these you could, other than the one FAR mission that from start to finish you could technically do that without ever being seen, which I like. But there was a whole bunch of these where you couldn't do that, or like it was just nearly impossible for you to. It just felt like it was the same thing over and over again. And now all these DMZ and like then the Graves mission being in the AC-130, I was so over it, man.
Yeah, and like this is where like I'm the opposite of you. Like I like stealth missions, not as much as you. I want to go in and wreck shit up. Yeah. Like I could care less. Like let me get to the Makarov and kill him. Yeah. That's what I want. I don't need to be stealthy. I'm a tank anyways. I'm gonna kill all of them.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I want that choice.
Right.
And in this game, you don't have the choice of doing it either way.
Yeah.
It definitely leans more in the way of like, let's just get into like firefights.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if I want to do a section of the FAR mission where you're at night, if I want to clear the house stealthily, let me do that and then get into a firefight. And then it turns into stealth again to where like, I killed all the enemies around me. I still have a chance to get to being stealth if I want to. But this, it was neither.
Yeah.
It was like just straight firefights. And they didn't link the missions to mission like very well, because like you said, by the time we got to the AC-130 mission with Graves, that's like a classic. But we're already fed up with all the missions like going into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't like games where you don't have that option to like do either, or at least I was saying if this mission is 100% stealth, make it 100% stealth, and like that's it. And if it's a gunfight, 100% gunfight. Right. I don't like how they don't even make it possible to be like stealthy. That's the thing.
Right. And that's exactly my point. I agree with you. Like I mean, like I always prefer stealth. I'm not like people wonder. I'm not over here being like this needs to be the next Tom Clancy game. Like, of course not. But I like those missions where there's, again, that's why Tundra to me is that's my favorite mission, because that mission is classic like MW3, MW2. It's one in MW3 I think that's very similar to it, where you're with Price, and it's stealthy right in the beginning of it, and then there's a point where you're not going to be stealthy anymore. Yeah, and it's not going to be. They tell you, and I like that.
Yeah, it comes in waves.
Right, exactly, and it gets both of those desires. You're like, I want the stealth part. I also want to like go in and wreck shit. And I love that too, but this game, like you said, it gives you no choice to do that. Or even parts that they start off quiet. It's like, okay, you're going to do that for about a minute, and then the whole game is going to be just like you going crazy. Yeah. Even if they give you that illusion that you're like, you could be stealthy here. Like the mission I'm thinking of is that DMZ one where you're playing as Ghost, and you come in from the water. And I'm like, okay, like I'm like, this is definitely like,
this was getting Melina, like Makarov's like accountant.
Yeah,
or
I'm
whatever,
like, this could be like a really stellar, because I was thinking that I'm like, I want to go in there and she's gonna be like, how'd you get here?
Yeah.
That's impossible.
Yeah,
that's impossible. The first part of it you can do stealthily, but eventually it's like, I mean, it's hard to do anyway. And then that part of it, it's like, it's impossible to do it,
Yeah.
So they gave me this illusion, and I'm like, I'm hoping I can do this, but they're not explicitly saying there's no, like, you're going to have to just go crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's go loud or whatever. You know what I mean? Because they do that in that Tundra mission. They're like, we could take these guys by surprise, and they're like weapons free, and then you go.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm ready for that. This one that we're talking about, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You try and you just fail. And they give you bottles everywhere to throw. I'm like, dude, this is pointless.
And Call of Duty is not made to be like open world.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a linear campaign, and we're not supposed to have like multiple options within the mission itself.
Yeah.
Because I know, I think it was MW2. They gave you how they had like that board where you could choose to do this side mission, but you didn't need to complete the whole game.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do that, do it that way.
Right.
Because the mission's still like linear and guided.
Right.
And in this, like, no, it was just you dropped in the Warzone DMZ mode. Like, you can just run around, unlock guns. Like, you could spend forever on that if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah, this campaign was nothing that we expected, for the worst.
I'll be the one to say, man, I think this is one of the worst campaigns in COD history. Yeah,
and they ruined like nostalgia characters.
Yeah.
They fucked up on nostalgia so bad.
Yeah. I mean, just the mission types are terrible. The plot itself is mediocre at best. It's just, it's such a bad campaign. It pains me to say that, but it's bad, bro.
Yeah. And we like COD campaigns, but this game just felt it was so rushed. Like you said, lazy.
Yeah.
It didn't feel complete. And maybe...
It felt like a DLC to MW2.
Yeah. And maybe that's because they had to pump out this game like right after MW2. Right? But if that was the case, like, have some respect for yourself and like don't put a campaign out like that.
Yeah, don't.
Because Treyarch had the same issue with Black Ops 4 because they weren't supposed to put out a game that time. But they chose not to put a campaign out.
And it was the right move.
Yeah, because they weren't going to put out quality work.
Right.
And that game for you and I is a top like Call of Duty.
Right, and no one complains about a campaign in there because you forget about that.
Yeah, because they focus so much on multiplayer.
Right,
and
everyone's
zombies.
going to remember this being a bad campaign. If they didn't put it out or like say it was going to come out later and it was good, like I've said it before, putting out a delayed game or something like that is always better than putting out a bad product.
Yeah,
because everyone's going to remember this being an awful campaign, including us. As opposed to if they came out with it later or just didn't put it out. That would have been the better choice, but I mean, yeah, it was not good.
Yeah,
I mean, and I wonder what everybody else like listening thinks about it, because we looked on a lot from other content creators and talking to some of our friends about it, and the feeling is mutual. A lot of people are not. I haven't heard anybody be like, "Dude, what are you talking about? This campaign's insane." I haven't heard that from anybody.
And I want to hear from people that maybe didn't even play the other like CODs.
Right.
Because I have a feeling those people, they might have a less harsh of an opinion because they don't know the story.
Yeah.
But I just think it's really disrespectful for them to ruin a character like that. And, all the hardcore fans of COD that have been following the series for like over a decade, you kill off one of the main characters like that, and you don't follow the storyline. You don't honor the storyline of what the original developers like did back then.
Yeah.
I know like a lot of those people that actually worked there, they moved on, to other roles, other jobs, but they created like an amazing storyline. So why not play into that and like honor that instead of like, let me pave our own path with the same characters that they created back in the day and create in a alternate universe.
Yeah.
And ruin them.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many questions about this, like, that I don't know. I have about it. I don't know what their direction was. I I don't understand a lot of it. It just, again, at the end, like, if I had to boil it down, this campaign really just feels like it's rushed. It feels like they had to slap something together in a matter of, couple of months and had some ideas and just threw them at the wall. They knew they were going to do the Makarov thing. And I think it was executed poorly. It was it's a really bad campaign. And if you had the option to skip it, I would skip it.
Yeah.
You're not missing much. If you want to subject yourself to like 3 hours of playing it, 3-4 hours, go ahead.
Especially if you played the original ones, like don't
bother.
Don't even bother, because it's just gonna. I mean, maybe you want to play it just to see like what we're talking about. Feel free, but
watch a review.
Yeah, they did not honor the characters, and again, I'm very big on like send offs of characters and closing a chapter.
Yeah,
and they didn't do that at all, and they tarnished Soap's name.
Yeah,
in this campaign.
Agree. So, bro, we've just gotta hope that this multiplayer. I mean, where we play, we like it. We're happy with it.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have, but I will tell you right now, when we however many episodes later, bro, this is gonna come back to haunt this game on the review.
It will, and it's gonna suck.
We could have been up into the high 8s.
Yeah. Dude, it might just be an 8 at this point with the campaign.
This multiplayer has to bang in
an
8.
Yeah.
Like right now,
even if the multiplayer is like a 12 out of 10, and then like this campaign, I just can't believe that whoever approved of this campaign was like, killing Soap is a good idea and it's going to shock everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? Let's kill Shepard too, because no one else remembers all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know who approved that, and they're not going to put out like why they did it. I love to know why, because it's wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was so shocking to me that they did all that.
That was terrible.
But so let's rate it, right? Let's just end it there on the rating. 1 out of 10. What do you give it?
Originally, what was I, 5.2, I think?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I put it like a 3.8.
Okay. Yeah, I give it a 3.2.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my thing was, for me, it was a 5. I was like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
It has like good characters. But then they killed Soap, and then they killed Shepard, and they didn't follow along with anything. That dropped it down like immediately. Yeah. And I give the 0.2 just as like
a pity point.
It is, yeah, pity points. Like, again, like the whole DMZ Warzone thing, we were talking about it. I see what they were trying to do. They didn't execute it well. And it just, again, it felt very rushed. I'm all for like innovating and trying something new.
Right.
But they didn't do it well.
They didn't have enough time to try this out and really make it work.
Yeah. I would have preferred them to just not have the campaign at all. Like, it would have been better off not doing it instead of tarnishing like all these characters.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Yeah, it was unnecessary. But
now it just made everyone upset.
Yeah, exactly.
That likes these characters.
No one's saying positive stuff about it. Where you look. So we've got the multiplayer to look forward to.
Yeah, and
that's where we'll see our positive stuff.
We're excited about the multiplayer.
Oh,
we love the beta.
100%.
We're super excited.
Yeah.
But man, this campaign, like,
it was just an L.
The no emotional connection like to the characters at all. And like when I compare it to Vanguard was like just average. Like I had no connection to these characters. The ending was like whatever.
Right.
But I had more of a connection to those characters than these ones.
Oh yeah, 100%. I did too.
So it's just crazy. And Vanguard's like down there in campaigns for me.
Yeah, no, it is. So I don't know. I mean, it's just
3.8, 3.2. Let's average that out.
What does that end up being? Like a 3.5 or something like
3.5.
that? I mean, that's our score over here. Again, and we were going in with high expectations, so let us know what you think about it. Do you think it's a 3.5? If anybody out there thinks this is above a 7 or above a 6, I think you're crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
Convince me. You're
not gonna.
With that guy Crowder is like prove me wrong or something.
Yeah.
Like something like that.
You can try.
Yeah,
it's not gonna
try to convince me that this is like a decent or like it's a good campaign.
Yeah, like try to convince me it's above a 5.
Yeah, exactly. But on that nice note there, again, we'll we'll go and leave it at that regarding if you guys agree with us or disagree with us. Please let us know in the comments on YouTube. We'll put a poll out as well, too.
This is one of our harsher episodes.
Yeah, this is a tough one. This is a rare one for us, a rant.
Yeah, it was episode 1 of season 4, too.
Yeah,
and
not on a good note.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna go have it on Spotify as well and have like a poll. What you think? Do you think it's a good COD or a good campaign or bad campaign?
Yeah.
And of course, regarding all the episodes, which again we thank you for listening to episode 133, anchor.fm/COD Casuals.
143.
143. What did I say?
33.
133. Yeah. 143. I'm losing my mind. It's got me all worked up. Yeah. Anchor.fm, that's where we're at, all the streaming platforms. If you don't want to listen to the whole episode, of course, go to the Instagram or go to TikTok. We've been posting the shorts, which is all just the best clips, as well as posting other memes and stuff there if you'd like to go and listen to those, get a break from the action, as well as being active on Twitter. We're always there, so if you ever want to DM us hate about the campaign over here, that's the best campaign ever.
Yeah, you're not going to change our mind.
Yeah, I'll be like, I don't agree.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But be sure to give us a follow over there as well, since we're going to be tweeting a lot with the
this upcoming season
out here soon. It's going to be a big one for us, so we're excited for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it, bro.
Yeah, we have a survey.
Yes.
Go to the description. We have a survey. We'd love some feedback after the MWIII season, and we're going to be implementing that. So we're going to keep the survey open probably for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So please go fill it out if you can. We'd truly appreciate it.
Yep.
And I want to give a quick shout out to the Boston Breach. Boston Breach is hosting Major 1 of the CDL.
Yes, sir.
This drought is going to end soon of the off season.
Tickets, bro.
100%. VIP tickets are available right now. They might, hopefully they don't sell out by the time like this comes out.
Yep.
But they're going to be dropping like general admission tickets soon too. So if you guys haven't, like, go pick that up if you're around like the Boston area, because we're going to be there and we'd love to meet you guys.
Yeah.
If you guys are there and want to come say hi, feel free, because we're 100% going to be there.
Yeah. And it's also going to be an insane event. You know, it's just going to be awesome to see him. So if you've never been to a pro gaming event, pro COD event, and you're in the area, like drivable, highly recommend.
Yeah, definitely recommend. Because this is the second year Breach is doing it, and the first year was great. Second year, they can clean up, whatever they need to, and it's going to be even better.
Yeah, so we can't wait for it. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, January 25th to the 28th, I believe.
So we got to put the time in. Take that
time off. I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't either. But, all right. Again, everybody, that's been episode number 143 of the COD Casuals podcast. We're your host, Mike.
I'm Justin.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, everybody.
See ya.